And we are back. Gonna be continuing our trend of TVPs here with a very, I wouldn't say unusual one, but I think a pretty unique one on our hands. It is gonna be kicking off on site Delta, where we're here in the bottom right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom right. We, of course, have our red Terran player coming out from the land of Korea, representing Team Falcons. We have Bunny.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player from the land of China, representing Mystery Gaming. It is Cyan. Here you go. Also, Yaku, has the sun risen where you are?
Not yet.
Not
in
yet?
about 25-30 minutes. We're kind of in that weird. I believe there is a term for it, but it's kind of that period where it's still
Twilight?
dark out, but it's like a lighter shade of dark. But you
Okay.
can't see the sun yet.
Okay.
Twilight, is that what it is?
I think that's Twilight, yeah. Or wait, no, is
what
that
it is,
Dawn?
No, dawn is like when you can see the sun, I think. Wait.
We need to find out. We need answers.
Figure things out. Dawn, I'm pretty sure, is a title in the whatchamacallit, in the Italian underground.
There you go. But
Dawn.
yeah, here, it's now the sun is up. It's all the way up here. It's almost 9 a.m. in the morning.
Shining. Yeah.
It's bright and
Is
shining.
it winter over there yet?
Yeah, it's cold. It's very cold.
So does it take? So does that mean the sun rises later in the day?
I wouldn't know. I'm usually asleep.
Oh well. Well.
There you go. But we are settling into our TvP, and we do see Bunny going for an economic opener. It was a Rax Expand setup here. Only a single gas opener out of our red Terran player, so something just more economic. Cyan opening up in a standard fashion as well, and I'm excited for this because we've been singing the praises of a lot of these Chinese Protoss players for quite some time. Players like Cyan, players like Firefly, Jeshi as well. They have all the triad of Protoss, if you will. They've all been improving so much over the past year of play. And I feel like on paper, especially people that have been watching recently, that haven't been watching WTL or maybe these online qualifiers, they would favor Bunny. But I honestly would say that both Bunny and Cyan are pretty similarly matched.
Yeah, I would say the same. The main hesitation I have is that, personally, I haven't really been able to catch much of Bunny. Bunny unfortunately had a little bit of an unfortunate streak a couple of weeks ago when it came to qualifying for things for offline events, and hasn't been as active in some of the more, at least when it comes to the online events that are technically supposed to be more Korean friendly, and thus things that I'm awake for. Haven't really been able to catch too much of Bunny there, so he is a little bit of an unknown. I'm not really sure where I would place his form, but Cyan, on the flip side, has been impressing me a lot, has been playing a lot in WTL, has been very active in a lot of the ESL Open Cups and the Kung Fu Cup as well, a lot of these other online events, so I would definitely say so. I think Cyan and Bunny, with the caveat that I'm not really sure where to place Bunny right now, are pretty comparable.
There you go, as we do have our first Phoenix moving out. Cyclone was in position. We do get a bit of hull damage on the first Phoenix, so very nicely done there by Bunny. Doesn't get a kill, but does get some nice damage done. And we're following this up with a mine drop. Okay, so a bit of an old school opener. We have our initial mine drop moving out. Bunny settling into his 3-1-1 setup, and we'll see if Cyan can keep up with the drop play, with the harassment of Bunny.
Yeah, we shall see. He already went for a bit of a Phoenix opening, so we'll be transitioning to Colossus pretty soon, and of course with the Phoenixes, there we go, immediately lifts up both of these Widow Mines. Doesn't actually have a lot of anti-air to really take them out, but hey, he might be able to kill the Medevac, and that was unfortunate here from Cyan. Not quite able to take out both mines while they were lifted and gravitoned. Didn't quite split up the probes, so did take a little bit of I would say unnecessary damage here, but it could have been way worse. It's only 3 when it could have been 8 or something.
Yeah, but that was still pretty good here from Bunny, getting 3 probes for 2 Widow Mines, but we are going for a counterattack. Cyclones are in position, and the Phoenixes don't actually get much done here. Not yet, as they're sharking around, skirting between the natural base and the main, and we just see Bunny is going to be contained here to his 2-base setup. The medevac did survive as well, bear that in mind. Will it be able to get back home in time and be repaired? Yet to be determined, yet to be seen.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But now it's just going to chill above the waters. And calm themselves as Cyan has enough Phoenixes now to start picking off these Marines one by one. Bunny a little bit out of position here with his Cyclones. And with a lot more of his Marines as well.
Yeah, again, it was a 3-1-1 setup, so we have quite a hefty bio army that's now moving out forward. Bunny is spotted by the observer. We can see that Cyan's trying to slow it down. Ooh, doesn't lose any Phoenixes yet, but does take quite a bit of damage here. Has to back off. And back at home, what do we have to defend? We have a Colossus already, and with this Colossus, we should be able to hold on here. Marauders can threaten it, but with a shield battery, with force fields, with an overcharge, we should be okay.
Yeah, we'll see how well Bunny's able to really split his army and really force the Colossus to focus entirely on the Marauders, leaving the Marines free to just pick off anything else, really.
Yeah, as again, Cyan is working towards his Phoenix Colossus setup, a very standard setup here in TvP, very meta, I should say. It is the go-to for many a player, and we just see Bunny trying to wedge his way in between the bases, but we have plenty to defend.
Indeed we do. We have 2 Colossus.
That's 2.
One at each corner, providing a little bit of a concave here. Bunny is able to retreat though, and will be able to reposition himself. Widowmine getting a little bit of damage on this Colossus. Thankfully, it was only the Colossus, so yeah, it wasn't anything too major.
Yeah, more mines just going off, taking down Sorgers, taking down some Zelts as well, hiding into that mineral line, but we have these 2 Colossus. They're topped up by the overcharge, and we bully back the ground army. Bunny does have to back off.
Yeah, Thermalance did finish up a while ago, so Bunny's gonna have a much tougher time cutting against these Colossus in particular.
He will pull back, bled out some bio, but at least keeps most of his medevacs alive. And behind this, we're working towards Viking production. Ghost Academy is now on the way for those eventual ghosts as well from Bunny. So he's just settling into his mid-game. Third CC's up and running, still just trying to catch up in the worker count, but is holding his own for Cyan. Oh!
He is. His economy has been untouched so far. He's getting a couple volleys off on these Marines. Nice, well, I was gonna say nice drag with the Phoenix, but unfortunately it seems that the Colossus actually killed the Widowmine before it could get any friendly fire on the Terran army, so...
Yeah, Cyan's been a little bit wasteful with his...
that's what happened, though.
Yeah, Cyan's been a little bit wasteful with his Phoenixes. He bled out 2 Phoenixes in that fight, and we are down to 3, now 4 Phoenixes, so that is a little bit dangerous. That means that Bunny can potentially pick up and drop into the main. He has drop potential suddenly a little bit more viable here for Bunny. You can see Cyan, he's reading that. He's like, oh, he could try to go for the drop. He's getting in position, but really instead Bunny rotates around.
Yeah, gotta find damage elsewhere, but not quite in the position that Cyan is anticipating right now, which is, I guess, not that much of a surprise. You know, Bunny is another one of these old school drop Terran players who does like to try to pick apart his Protoss opponents. But sometimes, when you can drop, it's better to walk.
Yeah, as we do deny the 4th base. That was a nice cancel from Bunny. Again, Cyan out of position. As you mentioned, he was, ready for a drop that never really came, so Cyan just was not able to hold on to that 4th base, and Bunny is gaining quite a bit of momentum here, now getting into his Viking and Ghost production, and that is becoming quite a terrifying force.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier on that Cyan hasn't taken any economic damage, but neither has Bunny. Bunny has been able to contain the entire army of Cyan to his side of the map, and with that, he's taking advantage of it. He has been teching up, and now lots of Vikings are in the sky, sniping the Colossus. Great EMPs from these ghosts as well. Once again, just giving Bunny so much momentum to keep this push going.
Yeah, exactly. One Colossus falls, we deny the 4th base, and that is the win condition of Bunny, is deny the 4th over and over again, as often as we can, and Cyan is struggling to expand.
very much so is, and he's starting to run out of resources, or at least run out of enough mining to really keep this army supplied.
Yeah, I mean, the supply block was brutal there for Cyan as well. You can see him just bleeding out every single Phoenix, bleeding out another Colossus down to only one. And Bunny snowballing out of control. He's breaking the back of Cyan. Vikings going to be landing. Boys, not quite being pulled, but we just stim and we win. The army crumbles before Bunny.
GG. That was... I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit worried for Bunny. A couple of points in that game, you know, when he wasn't quite able to get any damage done, really. Cyan, for a very long time, was doing a fantastic job of just deflecting Bunny, but I guess that's the key word there. He was deflecting Bunny. He wasn't trading, he wasn't really taking any... He wasn't really taking any chunks out of the Terran Bio army. Bunny was doing such a good job of just conserving his forces and building more behind all of that, to the point where he was able to contain Bunny, he was able to contain Cyan, and Cyan just didn't have the resources to muster up a defense that could handle round 2.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Cyan, he was holding his own. He was able to deflect and hold on to his 3-base setup, but not a 4th, right? He was just denied the 4th base over and over again. He wasn't able to really catch up and or shut down any of the drops either, at least not completely. And yeah, Bunny felt pretty in control of game number 1. Very impressive stuff by Bunny. We'll see if we can bounce back coming into game number 2. Looks like we have our map of choice, Alkione.
Indeed, we do. Cyan asking for a quick little break. I hope his hand warmer didn't boomed.
Hope not, hope not. But yeah, this map is going to be a little bit more macro-oriented, so I'm curious to see if Cyan can get into the swing of things. Very clearly, especially after that last game, it does feel like Cyan just wanted to, you know, get into his macro, get into a 3, eventually a 4-base setup, and keep up with the Terran. Last he was denied that in game 1. Let's see if we can try again in game 2.
Yeah, can't exactly keep up when your opponent is keeping you behind. Let's go into game number 2. Oh, we're having confirmation here. Twilight can be both at the start of the day and at the end of the day.
There you go. There you go. You can sparkle whenever you want, Jakob.
Yeah. Drink Tropicana.
There you go.
Sure where my mind is going. At this point of the broadcast. But anyway, we're going to be continuing our setup here, our run here on Alkione, where we're here in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left. We, of course, have our red Terran player coming down from Atlanta, Korea. He's going to be representing Team Falcons. We have Bunny.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as a opponent, we have the Chinese Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing Mystery Gaming. Down in this series, can he bounce back here and now and force the ace match? It is Cyan.
Oh boy, I don't think we were quite able to cast too much of Bunny ever since he did switch over to Team Falcons, but yeah, it's a pretty interesting team that we have here. At first I was thinking that Team Falcons was going to be another one of those, you know, teams that are just looking for the bonus at the esports World Cup, right? Just expanding, and we'll get the... I feel kind of mean for describing it this way, but it does feel a little bit like, you know, the token StarCraft player to, you know, get that additional bonus. But yeah, it looks like Team Falcons is a little bit more interested in investing. They have 2 players on their roster now.
Yeah, and I think that's the big sign. That's the big tell, right? Because as you mentioned, this kind of like token StarCraft player has very much to become a thing. You know, Cloud9 had done it,
Yeah.
Na'Vi did it, Talon Esports, right? Even Virtus Pro, you know.
Very recently Virtus, yeah.
Yeah. And we don't really expect these teams to pick up multiple players. So for Team Falcons to get recently, I mean, they've had Bunny for a while now, but to also pick up Rogue is interesting, right? It tells us that, you know, maybe they're big fans of StarCraft, they want to support it. Maybe they're interested in getting a 3rd player and competing in WTL. Like, that's, it's only just one more
this time.
Yeah, they could just round out their team. It's possible. It's possible suddenly.
Yeah. We're going some pretty interesting places in the landscape of StarCraft 2 in the upcoming years.
Yeah, we'll see where we do end up. As for now, we have our take of choice. It's going to be a Twilight Council opener this time from Cyan, not a Stargate.
Yeah, very, very different on our hands. Of course, Cyan in game number 1 on Site Delta was getting Phoenixes because his game plan the entire time was to go into Phoenix Colossus. It's a very strong defensive setup, as I think Cyan was able to demonstrate pretty early on, deflecting the initial pushes of Bunny. But I guess not necessarily one that continues to be effective or that scales well as your Terran opponent gets further and further into the tech tree. So yeah, Cyan opting for something a little bit more versatile with Blink. There we go.
Yeah, Blink is on the way. It's good that you pointed that out because we did see a charge-based opener earlier against Dolan, which was very unorthodox, but we did see it, so we have to make sure we can cross that out of the realm of possibility for Cyan. It's going to be a double-gate opener. Looks like 2-gate Blink into a third.
Yeah, so still very economic here from Cyan. Just playing to play this out safely.
Exactly, as he now has enough, and there it is, the Nexus is on the way, so a very economic build here from our Protoss player. Meanwhile, Bunny across the map, settling into his own opener instead, once again going for the initial mine drop.
Yeah, only 2 mines once more. He was able to get some decent damage done earlier in the previous game, getting 3 probes and only losing 2 mines, so I'll see if he's able to replicate that. It should be potentially easier for Bunny, as there aren't any Phoenixes to worry about, but Cyan, I'm sure, is... Because of that, I'm sure Cyan is going to be even more vigilant on the minimap. Immediately spots a little bit of red coming his way, maneuvers the Stalkers to deal with it.
Yeah, speaking of, we also chase away and shut down the Cyclone. Cyclone does fall. We can see the medic jump head towards the natural base instead. What it means they will end up burrowing, and shots are going to be going off. Ooh, we do have to pull the boys away.
Oof. 2 probes go down for only 1 mine so far. Bunny being a bit more conservative with the second one. He does get a full scout. Well, I say a full scout. He was prevented from going into the main base, but he does confirm the Robo, he confirms the third, and he confirms Blink, so he has a couple of pieces to try to put together or piece together what the full picture is.
Yeah, Bunny, he is aware now of the opener of choice from Cyan, but we can see the follow-up. It's going to be the Bay follow-up, so it's going to be 2-gate Blink into a third into Colossus production. We have a safety immortal on the way just to make sure we have an army to work with. And we'll see if Cyan can stabilize on 3 bases and even take a 4th. That's the advantage of this map, is the 4th base as opposed to on Site Delta. Here on Alkiona, it is much more defendable. It's much easier to expand to, easier to hold on to, leads and lends for longer games.
Yeah, there's only 1 entrance into that 4th.
True.
Yeah. Although there are 2 entrances into the entrance. Potentially 3 if you clear the debris.
You can try to open things up. For now, we see Bunny moving out with a double drop. At the same time, there is going to be a singular drop headed towards the main base as well. We have Mass Marine and a single Wind Mine inside, so there's potential for damage.
Multi-progs. Here we go. This is kind of what Bunny became known for back in, I want to say 2018, 2019, when he really started to get to his final form, and these probes so exposed. They do not have anything protecting them. That is an Artosis pylon, and with it going down, we are going to get a huge delay on Thermal Ants on +1. We're even going to prevent... we're even going to depower 2 more gateways. So once again, this gives Bunny so much momentum, and he's making full use of it. He's going straight into the natural base.
Yeah, he goes for the dive right into the mineral line. Probes are going down left and right. Colossus will eventually shut this down and force a pickup, but we get 15 worker kills in between both bases. Mine's still waiting to go off as well. Thankfully, the probes, they don't wander in this direction. Otherwise, that would have been brutal. But Bunny is popping off behind this, taking his third base on location. Still just now starting, but we are getting damage done. We're getting value with our drops.
We are 15 probes. Not only 15 probes, but we're also delaying a lot of tech, a lot of upgrades here from Cyan. Bunny has been able to keep the majority of his forces alive, and he's just continuing to build up behind all of that. We're about to hit round 3, or get ready for round 3, and once again, Bunny has done a fantastic job of making sure that Cyan is as inadequately prepared for this eventuality.
Yeah, I mean, this army feels a little bit vulnerable. Sure, there's 2 Colossus, true, but it doesn't take long at all to just stim up the ramp and focus down and focus fire those Colossus. Does scan ahead of time, does spot the army.
Yeah, even just drop on top of them. There aren't that many Stalkers on the ground.
Yeah, especially not with the main army, but there are Stalkers at the natural base. Looks like we were ready for drop play. Speaking of, we are going to be dropping on top of the army.
The mines! I'm going to drop with mines. I'm going to create an entire field, entire minefield. Battery overcharge does get popped, and it's doing such a great job of keeping these Colossus alive. Bunny underestimated the power of the... It looks like the power of the Stalkers as well as the damage of the Colossus. And potentially battery overcharge as well. He's getting deflected.
Yeah, he is, as it was an ambitious move to go for the mine drop on top of the army, but the army did survive. We shut down the medevac to shut down the main force, and suddenly Bunny threw away a little bit too much. I mean, you can see him trying to threaten to drop across the map, but there's only 2 Widow Mines within it, or sorry, 2 Marauders within it. We can't really do too much, but he does force the recall.
Oh. Yeah, but it doesn't force too much back home. It's only 4 Stalkers, and we still have a very potent fighting force here out in the middle of the map. Bunny forced to pull the boys to try to chase this back. Warp Prism now out. 1 Colossus goes down. Warp Prism goes down as well. Cyan picks off 9 SCVs, which is actually pretty huge at this point. Cyan is over 10 workers ahead of Bunny, and about to be a base ahead as well. However, he also loses both of his Colossus, so there's still a window of opportunity here for Bunny to push across the map and try to get something done.
Yeah, there's a bit of a give and take going on here, where Cyan was able to get some SCV damage, that is true, but as you mentioned, a lot of his army, a lot of his high-tech units were sniped or did fall in the midst of that attack, so now we have to back off, we have to lick our wounds. Cyan will be able to take and maintain that economic lead, and Bunny is just now working on his Ghost Academy and Vikings. He's building up as well, but I would say for the most part, Cyan is looking decent back at home. It's still hard to call.
Yeah, it very much is. It definitely looks like Cyan is just going to continue to outpace Bunny when it comes to the economy. He's about to saturate his 4th. And the fact that he has a 4th itself is a pretty major advantage that he's got.
Yeah, that it is.
But Bunny still has a better army.
Yeah, and Cyan needs a little bit more time. Now that he has a 4th base, now that he has, a decent economy, we are getting into a 2nd rover. Double rover production, double disruptors being produced at a time here for Cyan. And that is a good way to catch back up, to even surpass our opponent here as Prism goes down across the map. No harassment whatsoever. Bunny can now move. He can now push.
Yeah. He's unhindered now. He doesn't have to stay home. He doesn't have to worry about Warp Prisms or Zealots coming into his back line. He is ahead. He, for a brief moment, had pretty much doubled the army supply of Cyan, and he's still going to make full use of it. He's doubled the army supply and actually doesn't have that many medevacs with this army. He has enough to be able to keep stimming, but not so much that they're dead supply.
And is it going to be enough? Again, we're pushing into disruptors. Bear that in mind. First Nova going to be going off. Takes down 2 of those Widow Mines. Might Shot did connect. Another Nova will connect. Oh, does force back the main army.
Does force back the main army, but those are some beautiful splits from Bunny. Doesn't lose a single bio unit there. Good mine shots connecting with the Sentry as well as the heart of those Zealots. Now the Novas are, I was going to say starting to come on cooldown, but that was a very juicy connection, and it will inhibit Bunny's momentum a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about here, is again, pushing into disruptors is never an easy thing to do. It's just so awkward to do so, especially up a ramp as well. So Cyan has been holding his own, even though he was down in army supply. Cyan is catching up.
There's no observer in this army, but good split right at the end there with that Zealot. Yeah, Yeah, pushing into disruptors is definitely tough, and it's even tougher when you don't have any liberators, right? The disruptors are a great zoning unit. They're very good at pushing the bio army back. Liberators ideally would be here to try to outzone the zoning potential of the Purification Novas, but he's just committed to Vikings for now.
Yeah, he is committed. He is doubling down, but his opponent is still making 2 disruptors at a time. We are now up to 7 disruptors, soon to be 8 disruptors here for Cyan. And this just has not been working at all for Bunny. Again, there was a time where Bunny was up in army supply, but now Cyan has taken the supply lead. Bunny looks like he's going to try and go for a split push instead, as he's getting ready for that, even forced back home by these Zealots.
Yeah, he wants to land this 4th, but he's not quite able to yet. Cyan is about to be maxed out, but I will say that Bunny's not too far behind. Yeah, that worker count isn't ideal, but if he manages to max out without making any more SCVs, he will have a much higher army supply than Cyan. And it's technically still possible, you know, with the power of mules.
Yeah, he can, of course, catch up and keep up with his opponent, especially with this new CC getting up and running. Planetary is on the way. We do see the main army moving out on the right-hand side, and Bunny has to make a choice. Do we try to respond to this, or do we keep pushing as Cyan also expanding, taking another base?
Yeah, Bunny's game plan so far has pretty much been to try to slow down the Protoss economy as much as possible. Did a brilliant job in game number 1 and was getting there here in game number 2, but now I feel like enough time has passed. Cyan has moved past the obstacles that Bunny was setting up for him, and now he's just about to upscale Bunny massively.
Yeah, I mean, it has the potential to. Again, a lot of this is going to come down to these Purification Novas. Like, we've been seeing some amazing connections, at least earlier, but now Bunny is that much more attentive. Now he's that much more careful as he does outposition Cyan, going for the base. Oh!
Yeah, Colossus goes down, and there's not much else here to defend. Cyan trying to get back in position. Buddy kind of doing some drive-by shooting here.
Going for the drive-by, Nova's going to be going off, but we do avoid them. We do dodge those connections, but the rest of the army is being shaved away at, and Bunny running out of steam a little bit.
So many Vikings in the sky that have nothing to shoot. Ghosts go down to the Purification Novas, and like you said, Buddy's starting to run out of steam. The army supplies are still comparable somewhat, surprisingly. It really just goes to show how far ahead Bunny was when it comes to his army supply. At the same time, also goes to show how badly starved he is when it comes to workers.
Yeah, he is lacking those workers as SCVs. I mean, we do see Cyan pushing out once again with his gateway army, but we have reinforcements back at home. We should be able to hold on. The base is low from earlier. Wintermine is going to be going down. The main army is likewise going to be clashing, and the Vikings, they're forced to land.
I feel like they should have landed a long time ago. As Cyan, or Bunny, I should say, sorry, did overcommit too much to these Vikings. Was worried for Colossus, and funnily enough, we are about to get Colossus once again. Or Cyan has resumed Colossus production,
Yeah.
but the Viking count has been thinned out. Bunny now getting Liberators, and they're still going to be useful. But we're kind of at the point where having Vikings would actually be also advantageous.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Cyan, he notices that, hey, I've been shaving off your Viking count. I've been knocking them down one after the other. Now I can go back into Colossus. But even before we get into the Colossus, Nova's going to be going off, zoning and bullying back the army. We're running out of units. The boys being pulled into the Nova.
Right into the Nova. Unfortunately, not able to force any splash damage. Friendly fire there. GG's called. Cyan gonna be taking game number 2. Gonna be tying up the series 1-1. Oh boy.
GG, well played. Cyan does tie things up. You can see what Cyan is made of and what he can do once he gets a 4th base. You know, once he's able to get a much more stable early to mid game, have a solid economy, Cyan can take it here to the best of them. Bunny was he was fighting his heart out, trying to harass, trying to go for these drop plays, trying to commit to these pushes, but he could not break Cyan. Not this time.
Yeah, not this time. Not after he got up to 4 bases. He almost broke Cyan before this point. I think it's worth pointing out. Bunny was doing Bunny things. He was playing very aggressively. He had a brilliant push that I really thought was going to end the game then and there. But yeah, for some reason, got a little bit too ahead of himself. Tried to go for this mine drop onto the main army, and because of that, he also, I think, kind of got distracted a little bit. Wasn't able to pay enough attention to his bio army, to the fact that Cyan was attacking him from 2 angles,
Mhm.
and yeah, pretty much diminished. And Bunny didn't have a long-term plan after that. Let's put it that way. He had no fourth on the horizon. He wasn't planning to get a fourth, and it took him a long time. Because of that, it took him a very long time to tech up.
Yeah, Bunny, he was quite committed to his aggression, right? And usually if you're playing like that, you need to get damage done. If you don't, you start falling behind, and I did feel like that was the game state there for Bunny. Eventually he was outscaled, so very well done here to Cyan. But it looks like we are being notified here that Cyan is actually feeling a little bit unwell. I don't know the specifics, but maybe he caught a bit of a cold when traveling or something. Yeah, it looks like Cyan, he needs a moment here to rest up.
Yeah. It's an important reminder to everybody: stay hydrated as we get into. Well, for most of you, it's going to be summer. For Light and the rest of the southern hemisphere, it's going to be winter. And for me and the rest of our the equator, it's always summer.
It's just
never not been summer.
Yeah, it's just more of the same, Smooge, man, smooge. But
I have an update, by the way. The sun has just about risen, or starting to rise now. So
there you go. Sun is rising in Singapore, and yeah, this has been a great series so far. It's gone all the way to the ace match. I hope Cyan is okay. It's always brutal. Like now is not the time to be sick and unwell, but it happens, right? And hopefully it doesn't affect him too much here at this event at DreamHack Dallas.
Yeah, it's not just the day that he has to play. It's ideally, if he's able to qualify, let's play tomorrow as well. And then ideally, he'll be playing on Sunday in the playoffs, which is going to be tomorrow. It's already Saturday. Anyway, we're going to conclude this best of 3 TvP here on Ghost River, where we're here in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left. We have our red Terran player coming out from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Team Falcons. We have Bunny.
And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the Chinese Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Mystery Gaming, tying up the series 1-1, forcing the ace match. It is Cyan.
Ghost River, so far tonight, seems to be a very popular ace map.
Yeah, we've actually been seeing a surprising amount of Ghost River. I mean, if you remember, we only casted Dynasty the one time. Dynasty only once.
Right, yeah.
Towards the
start that was our very first match. Yeah. Kelser versus Riser.
Yeah, towards the start of the broadcast. We have not seen any of Post Youth. We have not seen any of Amphion. We did see Crimson Core like once or twice. I do recall we did cast a bit of Crimson Core. Yeah.
That was, I want to say a
TvT? Was it
TvT? Yeah, it was the TvT between Kelser and Future.
So, yeah, we've been dabbling in some of these other maps, but, like, the most popular ones have been Side Delta, Alcyone, and, surprisingly, Ghost River.
Yeah, normally would say Oceanborn, and we have seen Oceanborn a couple of times tonight, but yeah, Ghost River is not typically a map that we expect to be this popular. For a very long time, at least over WTL, it usually was forced out as the first map a lot of the time, because otherwise we wouldn't see it. But maybe that's what we have to credit it towards WTL, making Ghost River more popular among our players.
True. It's all thanks to WTL, obviously.
Thanks, SC boy.
As we're settling into our openers, it's going to be a double gas opener this time at a Bunny. Interesting, a much more aggressive build, going for a faster factory, for a higher tech here in the early game. I'm curious what we invest into and how this all comes about. It is not a one-base all-in. We are expanding. Likewise, back at home, ooh, as the SV will barely survive, it's going to be Twilight Council. It's a tech of choice.
Yeah. Have we ever seen Phoenixes in PvT on Ghost River specifically? I feel like, I mean, until today, we haven't seen that many TvPs on Ghost River, but
I casted KSL over the weekend, and Classic did it, and he died to Oliveira going for one base all-in.
there we go.
Classic went for a Phoenix opener, and yeah, Oliveira just all in the hell out of it. It was great.
There we go. That'll teach you to try to play macro on this map.
Think you play Phoenix on Ghost River? You're an animal, Bob. You're an animal. Aye. Never again, never again. As Bunny dips in and does confirm the tech, but once again, we see something very different on the way.
Yeah, speaking of aggression, Cyan could be the aggressor at the start of this game. Charge going to be coming out, taking a page off of... God, I can't believe I was about to say, taking a page off of Cyan's book. Yes.
I mean, true. He is copying himself. Not wrong. As
this is exactly what he did in the last series on Ghost River.
True. For those curious as to what the hell we're talking about, Cyan did compete against Dolan earlier, the previous series, and did go for the same build. Before that happens, Bunny once again opening up with that Mind Drop. The Mind has borrowed, getting not quite a probe yet.
Yeah, not yet. Might be able to, not quite get a sentry, but we'll get an adept, we'll get a probe, we'll get a scout on the main base. We'll confirm
yeah, it confirms the Twilight Council once again. Yeah, 2 probes did end up falling, so not a bad trade here from Bunny. The medevac will escape, but here comes that Prism, and here come the charge lots. Wait, my apologies. Okay. For some reason I thought 2-gate, no, 4-gate charge.
Yeah, 2-gate charge, that's... would be interesting to see. Yeah, medevac very badly bruised from earlier. Is in a pretty precarious position, but thankfully for Bunny, he will be able to keep it as well as the cargo alive.
It does manage to boost back home. Meanwhile, Cyan is pushing. We have the Prism. We can reinforce across the map. The army is going to be loaded up, and what can we get done here? As back at home, Bunny is settling into his 2-base setup, a 3-1-1. We have our first tank, we have a bunker on the low ground. Not a bad defensive setup here for Bunny.
Yeah. Doesn't quite have a wall to keep the tank alive against the charge lots, but regardless, he is expecting... since he was expecting aggression anyway, he inadvertently is setting up a pretty decent defensive line against that.
And Cyan is really yet to reveal his hand here. Ooh, we have to be careful. We have to respect that. Widowmine, we dodged the shot. Stalkers come in. They try to focus on some of these SCVs. 2 SCVs have gone down. They focus on the Widowmine.
Did friendly fire kill a Reaper? I think it did. Anyway. Yeah, but Cyan hasn't really revealed his hand just yet, but the lack of blink might be a little bit of a tip-off here to Bunny. Regardless, he has been building up his forces. He has Stim about to finish up, Combat Shield about to finish, so he's going to push. Middle of the map is exactly where Cyan wants to fight, but will he know when to fight? Well, he's got the Observer, so...
Yeah, the Observer does follow the main army. We have the double jump towards the main base. Cyan not quite in position at the natural, though, so maybe a little bit too hyper-fixated on the main push. Here we go, the double jump does come in. Probes are going down.
Oh, not every Marine unloads. Only a handful of them, and they will force an evacuation in this mineral line. Trying to get the Forge as well. Charge has been revealed. Forge will go down. +1 armor will be denied. It's going to give Bunny a much easier time pushing into this.
Yeah, and when on done, we drop into the main base thereafter. 3 probes going to be going down. We can focus on some more. At the same time, Bunny re-sieging his army, getting in position. It looks like his CC across the map is going to be delayed, but the base does survive. We'll be able to get back up and running. Meanwhile, Cyan will clean up this drop. Eventually, he's bleeding out a couple too many units, though.
Yeah, units that he really needs in the defense right now. Shield battery a little too exposed, will get taken out. Zealots try to come in for a flank, but not quite able to really deal with all of that bio.
Yeah, the bio army does escape, but we clean up all the tanks. Meanwhile, the drop in the main base is deflected as well, and Cyan has held, is down in workers, but has survived the aggression of Bunny, and now we're going for a counterattack.
Indeed, we are. Counterattack with lots of Zealots. I like the addition of the missile tart here to just try to zone away the Warp Prism.
Do try to zone it away. Likewise, Cyan's main army going to be forced back as well. Ooh, as we do try to focus on the Immortal, we do get it.
And we don't lose too much to get it either. Warp Prism going to try to come in and harass once again. No Vikings just yet. I don't know what it is about Cyan's opponents tonight and not making Vikings, at least not at least on a Ghost River, but that's what's been happening. Cyan very easily reciprocates the worker damage that he took earlier on. Buddy now going to be running a worker deficit.
Yes, the Zealots are still wreaking havoc, by the way. 16 SV is going to be going down. This entire mineral line worth of workers have fallen. Very nice damage dealt here by Cyan. And suddenly Cyan is back in this. He was on the receiving end earlier. Bunny was pulling him left and right, getting so many probe kills and just trading so well, even getting the Forge earlier if you remember. But now Cyan, he's stabilizing, he's calming things down. Bunny is stuck at home and Cyan can build back up.
Indeed, he can. Bunny, you can tell he wants to push. It's always in him. It's in his DNA. He just wants to push. He wants to end the game, and this would be a very potent timing. But this Warp Prism is keeping him at home. It's buying Cyan so much time to catch back up when it comes to the army supply, and eventually he's going to have a much easier time defending.
Eventually he will. We have the Ghost Academy on the way of Vikings amassing, as we did mention before, just to zone away the Prism to keep our bases safe and sound. The Prism may end up going down as well, as we are forced to unload. Up! What a mass!
Just barely not going to get it. Vikings turn around.
Yeah, Vikings
turn around.
Yeah, they back off, they meet up with the main army, and here we go. Bunny's pushing right through the center. Does have a slight army supply lead, so he has potential with this army, but it looks like he's not feeling too confident. Does fall back as Cyan is able to keep up with a mass Zealot army.
And once again, this is where Cyan wants to fight. The middle of the map where he can swarm this bio army from every single angle. We have a lot of stalkers in this as well, so got a little bit of an additional DPS in the backline.
Yeah, gonna be able to focus down those medevacs if need be. You can see both players once again backing off. Bunny working on a fourth command center, so is Cyan, as a fourth Nexus is on the way.
Slowly but surely. Well, not that slowly. It's about to hit. And we're seeing a little bit of a repeat of game number 2. I feel like Bunny is a lot quicker to expand this time. He is getting his fourth base about halfway done. He is getting into Liberators a lot quicker, but starting to see Cyan get less hindered and less broke, essentially.
Yeah, Cyan is at least getting his fourth base at the same time. Prism into the main, going for a big warp in. The Prism is low though, and we deny the warp in.
Very nicely done. Looks like a lot of SCVs are going to go down by the run by regardless, so good damage here from Cyan regardless. But now the Warp Prism has been dealt with, and Bunny is gearing up for round 2. He will have 1-1 versus 1-1. The armory isn't done yet for Bunny. So they're going to have an upgrade advantage, and if this continues going, if Bunny isn't able to break Cyan here, the tables are going to turn massively.
Yeah, especially with those disruptors in the production tab, but they're still on the way. Immortal goes down instantly, and Bunny forcing his way into that third base. Cyan, the surround is not ready yet.
No, it is not, and even if we do have the surround, Bunny just has way too much meat put us in this sandwich.
Yeah, there's just too much Marines, too many Marines, too much bio here. The Zelta coming from behind, they try to get a surround. They do manage to capture a couple of these tanks, but the bio army, it stims on forward and it will not be stopped.
This is some absolutely brilliant positioning coming out from Bunny. retreating to the liberation zones where everything's going to take damage. He maximizes the damage potential despite the surround of Cyan. GG is called. Bunny, you'll be taking that series 2-0? 2-1, my mistake. And we'll be advancing to, I believe, the qualifying match.
GG.
GG.
Yeah, GG, well played. Bunny will take it in the end. It went all the way to the ace match. It went down to the wire, but was able to find his footing here in game number 3. As you mentioned, will take down Cyan 2-1, and it does advance on to the ace match of Bracket D.
Yeah, where he already has an opponent waiting for him. Scarlet took out Nightmare 2-1, and will be on the other side of this bracket. Players are going to conduct their vetoes, and that should be what we're going in.
Should be.
Should be. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll quickly check if maybe even the mainstream is thinking of catching them and taking that. We'll see. As for the time being, Scarlet versus Bunny is tentatively going to be our next series, but that is a big win. We kind of glossed over it, but Scarlet taking down Nightmare 2-1 is a very, very impressive result.
Yeah, Nightmare, who has been leveling up significantly. He has been on that grind. He has become just outside the top tier of Korean Protoss players, I would say. You know, if at the absolute top you have your hero, you have classic, you have stats, I feel like Nightmare has been able to get himself just below that.
Yeah, and even then, only just below that, so GG very well played there by Scarlet to take that series, and I believe that is going to be confirming what at least we are going to be getting ready for here, is going to be Scarlet versus Bunny.
Yeah, a little bit of a TVZ, yeah, the first one that we're going to be able to cast tonight.
Yeah, we haven't been able to cover much of that matchup, so we are looking forward to it. Until then, though, we're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we will have our next series.
Stay tuned.